Sorry, something happened there. Kendra?
Just keep going. It's fine.
But I can't.
Press got it and keep going.
Hmm?
Just press got it.
I have. Okay. Sorry, there was a got it. It came up on my screen. It's not part of my presentation. So we've got it. We're being recorded. Okay, but we did start out having video conferences. So we sort of got used to something. Then we started chatting away to our friends and family on video because we couldn't see them. And then we started making video messages for social media marketing. And that is what I'm going to talk about today. And thank goodness for Zoom. I mean, where would we be without Zoom? Look, there are a whole lot of other communication platforms, but I think everybody is very happy with Zoom. Now, I'm going to ask you these questions. In this changed world, do you want to stretch yourself in your business in 2021, not only 21, 2022, 3, 4, 5, etc.? Do you want to be on top of your game? Do you want to be confident on Zoom and presenting on PowerPoint? Because we do have to do our own PowerPoint presentations. We have to make them nowadays. Do you want to grow your business beyond your wildest dreams? And do you want to make compelling marketing videos? Now, before you start anything, you must be very, very clear about what your niche is. I think most of us are pretty clear, but don't have too many niches. Choose a niche, something that you're really good at. And what is a niche? It can be described as a speciality that targets a select audience. So your niche is your speciality, but you also need to target a select audience. You can't even start to make video messages unless you know what your niche and your select audience is. You know, you wouldn't speak to these people in the same way about the same things. You don't speak to one child in the same way as you speak to another one. You don't speak to your boyfriend as the way you speak to your husband. Now, I'm just being naughty. But you do speak to different people in different ways. Think about it. You speak to your mother in a different way than you speak to your father. So that is why you have to know what your avatar is. Now, don't get a fright. An avatar is not one of those creatures that whisks around the skies with blazing swords of things. It is simply your ideal client. Now, just take a look at these slides and you see that everybody here is different. So once you know, okay, so is my avatar a young woman who lives on the outskirts of Bloemfontein? Or is he or she a religious person? Or is it somebody that's very into their own culture? Now, the reason for this is that you have to be careful not to insult anyone. In order to know your avatar, I give actually a whole lecture on niche and avatar, but I'm just going to quickly do this with you. You need to get into their heads. You need to define them to the last detail. It's rather like in television when we're writing a drama. We have to define our characters to the last detail. Have they got a tick? You know, how do they drink a glass of water? And that's exactly what you have to do with your avatar. You need to know their values, their circumstances, their possible challenges. And when I talk about possible challenge, you know that that's their pain point. You need to know what somebody's pain point is so you can help them. And then from there, you work out your unique selling point and gear your communication to that particular audience. Okay, so now you know who you're talking to and what to talk to them about. So go ahead and get their attention. And this is how you do it. I'm often asked, what if my problem is I don't know what to write or talk about? Well, I've just mentioned pain points. What does your audience really, really need to hear from you? Once you know who they are, you know what they need to hear from you. What comes easily to you that others struggle with? You know, a lot of us are not sort of mathematicians, and we look up in awe of people who are mathematicians, for example. Then often, what advice do people ask from you? You know, it may be, oh, how do I polish my car properly? Or it can be anything. People are always asking me about decor. It's not my business at all, but I can talk about it, and I give lectures on it. But it's the kind of advice that people ask from me. So, what about your life lessons? What personal experiences have you been through that you could tell people that would make it easier for them if they should be going through the same sort of experiences? What are your interests? Much easier to talk about your interests or your career or your family if you get on well with them, or your education or your relationships. What adventures you had, challenging times and achievements. So I have just really mentioned that. What do you know a lot about? Talk about that. You don't have to be a professor or a worldwide expert. Now, one of the easiest ways of doing things, should I just get that phone? It's on the corner there, sorry. You see, I do tell you when you're doing seminars not to be disturbed, not to have house phones going or animals on your table, and I've had both now. Okay, so what people love they love stories. And then this is a very, very easy way for you to find what you want to talk about. So, stories about yourself, your products or services, the expertise of your staff, and the difference that you can make, to other people. If you think about it, why I do say, and I harp on about storytelling, is that when you go to a conference or whatever, what do you remember? You don't remember the facts and figures, really, unless they're shocking. But you do remember the stories that people tell you, right? Okay, so to carry on, you can tell, this is a great one, your customers' success stories, little things that happen behind the scenes. Share tips and tricks. Everybody loves this. And whatever kind of stories that will connect you to your customer or avatar. And by this stage, you know exactly who that is and what they want. Your stories need to captivate them and appeal to their emotions. It's all about emotions. Oh, yes, I'm not doing so well at the moment, but that's a great story and somebody did it very easily. I want to do that. Now I'm feeling better. Now, when you're writing a script, or perhaps you're not, you have to decide what your style is. Do you prefer writing a script, or do you just like making notes, points? Whatever you like doing, keep whatever you're going to say conversational. I said to you earlier at the beginning that we are real people and we are having a conversation with our avatar. So that's why you need to talk to them as if you know them very well, and you do. You don't want to sit up there like this. Just chat. If you make the odd mistake, so what? And then obviously you'll write differently for different people and for your avatar, be it script or notes. I write a full-length script, and then no matter what, you have to come down to your points. So you have to, at the end of the day, go to point form. And I'm going to give you a little secret, is if what you do is put sticky notes around your lens. You'll notice I'm talking straight to the lens now, which means that I'm talking to everybody. Now, if I'm looking now down here at where Taryn is, I'm not involving all of you, okay? So, but if I look into the lens, I am. So put your points around the lens, and then it will look as if you're not reading. Now, the shorter your video message, the more effective it will be. So don't write too much in one go. If you've got a lot of stuff to say, just break it down into bite-sized pieces. Nothing should be more than 3 minutes long, I promise you. I like a minute. Now, there are two reasons for this, because I've just said, don't look as if you're reading, and don't read. You know, you will remember what you've got to say if you've got short pieces. And then the other thing is, of course, we live in the click generation. And so if they're not interested, and if you don't hook them into what you're saying immediately, they're going to do this or that, right? So adopt your own style so you'll feel comfortable. Be natural. Remember, you speak differently to different people. The person you're addressing is on the other side of that lens. Now, for time immemorial, everything is written according to a 3-act structure. I mean, now people are trying to debunk that myth, you know, but we are starting out. I must tell you that Shakespeare did a 5-act structure, but we're just starting out, so let's just stick to our 3-act structure. I love this from Steven Spielberg. Okay, so your Act 1 is the introduction to your content. Okay, it must be pithy and captivating and hook your viewers in. Your Act 2, if you think about any movie, what happens? You're introduced to your hero in Act 1. And then he or she is faced with a confrontation and they are forced to act. So in Act 2, it's all the stuff that happens, all the ups and downs. You go, oh, don't know if this person's going to survive or not. And then when you get to Act 3, you think, no, this isn't going to work. And it's the same with dramas or comedies or mysteries or whatever. If you look at a movie, you'll see it's exactly the same. And then in Act 3 is the resolution, where your story ends. Now, if you're doing video messages, they rather follow the structure of a news story. Think about a news story. It's pretty short. They introduce to what they're saying. They hook you in. Then they give you the rest of the information, and they leave the least important facts to the end. The structure of a video is very much the same. And remember that those news stories are very short. So, video, hook your viewers within the first 3 seconds. In the body, give 1 to 3 messages. I suggest 1. You know, just say one thing and then people will know exactly what you're talking about. And then your conclusion is your call to action. So, I've told you this already, your title and introduction must hook your viewer so they've got no alternative to carry on and listen to what you've got to say. Your body will be those bullet points we talked about. You see, they've got them sort of around the screen there. And really just expand enough to get your point across. Don't be drawn out or use extraneous words or try to be... I love it when I write down from my script and all these adjectives. You can't use them when you're talking to people on camera. You know, one will do. Keep your content simple and spellbinding. And make sure that you have a logical flow. And then the conclusion is where you make your call to action. Now, I urge you to keep reviewing what you're going to say with a critical eye. Be ruthless and edit out all those words you don't need. Speak to the points you've written. Record and listen to yourself repeatedly. Now, I say record first, not on video while you're new to the game. So you record and you, maybe on your phone or whatever instrument you have, and listen to how you sound. Do you sound genuine? Do you sound conversational? And do not, I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but most people tell me, I hate the sound of my voice. Well, I'm afraid that is how other people hear you. So accept it. And just listen to yourself so that you sort of go, okay, saying too many ums. And by the way, don't be, too many ums are not good. But if you say the odd one, it doesn't matter. And stick to those bullet points and practice. Once you've done your recording, then you talk to yourself in the mirror. And make sure you look approachable and sound genuine. Practice in front of your colleagues, family, and friends, but not those ones who are naysayers. You know those ones? Why are you doing this silly idea? And then, of course, when you succeed with your silly idea, they say, oh, what a great idea that was. We all have people like that in our life. And they practice in the car. I'm so thrilled I found this. Look at that. Okay, now, why is your appearance important? Well, we've gone through this. We need to be genuine or authentic, friendly, compelling, relatable, and obviously interesting. Otherwise, they would have switched off. People make judgments about you in 3 seconds on video, can you believe? And whereas in real life, it's 7. It's still very short. We've all seen people like this on Zoom, right? Unwashed, unbrushed hair. I give a whole lecture on Zoom, and the whole thing behind it is actually to say that you should appear at Zoom meetings the same way as you'd appear at a normal meeting, if we can remember what those were like. But I mean, we've seen people like this. Their clothes are rumpled, they slouch. Just present yourself as you would at a proper meeting. Now, when people ask me what they should wear for a video, they have a heart attack because there's probably very little in their wardrobe that they can wear. Black, you cannot wear black because it drains your light. Okay? And white does the same thing. Look what happens when I put something white. Look. You see? It reflects the source of light. Whereas black, I don't know whether this will work. No. But it drains your source of light. So, no black or white. Patterns, they like to dance about and have fun on video. Look how your eye is rested on that plain shirt. And if it's distracting, for example, I'm going to show you the next one, stripes. Look what happens with this cup as well, this striped cup. Stripes like to play. They don't want to be separated on video. They like to play and join together. You can see this one is just taken with an ordinary camera. That's what happens on video. And it's distracting. And people don't listen to what you say. Here are examples of good colors to wear. Not this one so much, but I put it in because it actually melds into the background. And a lot of people, when I say, well, you can't wear white or black, they say, well, what about grey? You can wear a light navy. But look how nice that looks. And that. So if you don't know what color suits you, when people say to you, wow, you look great today, take note of what color you're wearing. That's the color that suits you best. And of course, again, we're going back to our niche and avatar. Wear clothes that are replicable. If you're talking to business people, wear a suit and a tie or suit and pearls or something that's a bit more formal. If you're talking to youngsters, yes, you can be relaxed, you can wear T-shirts and that sort of thing, but just make sure that your clothes are applicable. Now, how many of you have seen on, say, Zoom meetings in particular, and if you're going to make a video message, we want to see your face, right? So, if you're shooting inside, choose a room that's got lots of natural light and use a window as your source of light. And whatever your source of light is, face it. You can also use household lamps. You see here they've got household lamps. But this is terrific, this bay window here, because they'll be facing the source of light and then they'll have two sources on either side. But the world of communication has changed and we're not going to get away from it. So I advise you to invest in some ring lights. They're not very expensive at the moment, and it really, really makes a huge difference. Now, this is standard three-point lighting that we use in television. I remember the first day somebody said to me, I think I was 2 years old. Oh, no, I wasn't. I was 20 or so. And they said, go out and do an interview. I said, well, I don't know how to do that. They said, well, just, go and pretend you know what to do, and this is how you light your person. Okay, so so use the same sort of idea. You see, here's your key light, which is a brighter light, and here's your fill light, which is not so bright. On this picture, it looks as if it has the same intensity, but it doesn't. And then, if you like, use a backlight. It just gives you a bit more definition at the back. But you don't have to do that. Just make sure that you've got some lights. Okay, so here is a household lamp or office lamp. One, notice that she's got it at 45-degree angle like I've just shown you. Here's a ring light. Not quite 45 degrees, but that's absolutely fine. And if you're shooting on your phone, you know that ring lights have that little thing in the middle where you can slot in your phone. She's using a more professional light here. Note, 45 degrees. Here is the ideal. These are two more professional lights with barn doors, and they're also at 45 degrees. That'll do. That'll be terrific, that light. Now, look at me there. Isn't that hideous? And that was shot, in the middle of, at about 1:30 in the afternoon. The shadows are awful. So if you're shooting outside, always face the sun. Right, you must do your shoots until about 10 o'clock or 10:30, or late in the afternoon. That, of course, is if you're in South Africa. And you're not going to shoot at midday, if you remember the thing. Always face the sun. That's what you'll look like. So I think it's easier to remember that. Okay, and take advantage of any overcast days, because you can shoot at any time. Be careful of your backgrounds. That is quite a good background because it's a textured background. But look at me here. I've got all kinds of plates and things behind me, and there's something growing out of my shoulder. People are going to not listen to what I'm saying. And look, there's lighting on top of my head as well. They're going to go, oh, I wonder what dishes those are. Yeah, that's quite interesting. They're not going to listen to what I'm saying. So, no busy background. Bookshelf is really, really cool. But be careful of the titles you have in your bookshelf. No 50 Shades of Grey. If you're a psychologist, make sure you have psychological books. Just something that works well in your background. But check it out and don't have any bunnies or rabbits in your bookshelf. Look professional. What do we notice? The same as your books. People notice pictures on the wall. So if you've got some naughty pictures, don't sit in front of them. They have cats on the table. Mine went away, thank goodness. They have nosy, non-essential people in the background. Disturbing little people in the foreground. And then, as I mentioned, really check out the books on your shelf before you sit in front of them. And keep your home office in a reasonable state of tidiness. Here's a virtual background. Doesn't work unless you're telling a children's story. And talking about virtual backgrounds, it's great to use them if you've got a terrific camera. But what tends to happen is that if you're showing something, your hands go out of shot and all that sort of thing. So take care that your virtual backgrounds work. And they are great because it's great to have, like Diana has there and Diane, they have their logos on the background. And so does Kendra. See, put do not disturb notices on your doors, but unfortunately cats and dogs can't read. So just be careful to lock them away if you can. Okay, so appearing in front of it, you know your content, right? You know that the camera lens is your beloved audience. Look straight into it for authentic connection. Frame yourself slightly in the middle of the screen, or slightly to the side if you have a logo. And then make sure that you've got enough headspace. You know, the people are either hitting their heads on the top of the screen or they're going, what's that for? You know, there are no fairies flitting around the top of your head. So, these are little things, but it does make a difference when you're presenting to camera. Okay, now where to look? I say this 55 million times. Look into the lens. The lens should be just above your eye level. If it's not, put a whole pile of books underneath your computer. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 coffee table books under my computer. Now, if you look down at the lens, you appear to be dominating your viewer. If you look up the lens, you appear to be supplicating your viewer. So, just slightly above your eye level. Anyway, it's good for the chins, you know. When you're on a Zoom meeting, watch out for body language of the other participants. But we're not really talking too much about Zoom. But if you are on a Zoom meeting and giving messages or giving a talk, watch your own body language. People often ask me about gestures. If you are the kind of person, here comes the cat, if you are the kind of person who makes gestures, can't lock it out, you know. If you're the kind of person who makes gestures, make them. Don't sit on your hand because it makes you look uncomfortable. But don't go crazy. I always tell everybody, quando parlo italiano io, parlo con i mani, which means when I speak Italian, I speak with the hands. No, that's too much. That's too much. But don't try to hamper your gestures. And no scratching when you're giving a talk. And if you're covering your mouth, well, obvious. Check your posture. No slouching. It's not convincing if somebody's slouching around here. What do I look like? I've got too much headroom. I'm slouching. I'm really interested in what I have to say to you and how you're receiving it. So, I like standing. It's a bit difficult to stand when you're doing a PowerPoint presentation, but when you're doing video messages, I love standing. It gives you more energy, and that helps tremendously, just having that extra bit of energy. But you have to stand up, talk to them, you know. And then when you're sitting, sit up straight. Okay, I hope I've given you a bit of confidence. So, let's fly. Last words. Body language, I've said, keep your gestures open. Don't talk too fast. And slow down. to emphasize a point. Just have fun. Once you got over the nerves, and I've got a whole lot of ways of helping you get over nerves. Now, this is one of the best lessons I ever learned. Remember, I said earlier, we are real people. So don't worry about being word perfect. Your audience doesn't know what's in your script, do they? So if you miss out something, it's too bad. I often say something ahead of time. You know, and they say, oh, well, I've said that already. It doesn't matter. We are real. And that's why it's important to speak in a conversational tone. Be energetic. Radiate positivity. Look comfortable, but not too comfortable. Be eager. Have an open expression. And appear calm and confident. Now, here is the biggest secret. I have been talking to you quite a bit about this already. Look into the lens of that camera. And the secret to doing this, which I have, again, been telling professionals over the years, is look into that lens as if there's somebody you absolutely love on the other side, or somebody you admire. And then, of course, we know our avatars so well, and we really like them because they're going to buy from us, right? So look at them with love and care. So look through the lens at that special person and tell them. Okay, I don't know what's happened there. Again, our second biggest secret, we're real people, not professionals. Just make sure you come across warm, genuine. Keep your tone conversational at all times. That's it. Thank you very much. Have you any questions? No questions? I'm sure somebody's got something they want to ask me.
Elsa, thank you. You've taught us a lot again today. We always learn from you, and we're all going to be professional people on camera soon. Thank you, Elsa.
Okay, pleasure. And what I do is I give courses that are an hour and a half long, or I can, if you're really interested in making video messages, is I actually coach you the whole way through making those messages. And then as well, as far as scripting is concerned, really short and sweet and write how you would talk. Any other questions? Yes. I'm sure that Taryn will give you the contact details. Ask a question.
Thank you so much, Elsa. Yes, I will be sharing contact details. It will be sent out in an email with a recording of the video. So just keep your eyes out on your email. It should be sent out by Monday, the latest.
Yeah. Okay, so somebody has just asked me whether I'll do, so I think it's Jochen on the chat. Yes. With pleasure, Joachim, I'll do the same presentation. Oh, so Eugene's in a public park. I'm just looking at the chat. Okay, so how many of you are wanting to make video messages. Well, you're well on your way, Diana. You know. So.
I've got you by my side, Elsa.
Oh, here's a question. How do you look at your background when you're shooting outside? Well, just do it in a pretty garden. The problem is with shooting outside, I swear that the minute you go and stand outside, an aeroplane comes over. Or the hardy-dars go. Well, that actually happened to me the other day. I was in the middle of doing a piece. And I thought, I'm not going to do this again. And I'll tell you why when I finish my story. So I thought, I'm not going to do it again. At the beginning was so good, and here come these birds. I'm not going to do that again. So I just went, oh, well, there are...
Hi everyone, I think Elsa's Wi-Fi has stopped, so I'm just going to give her some time.
Oh.
Are you back? Are you back? You paused there for a little bit.
What?
You paused. I think we lost connection.
Oh, okay. All right, am I back now? Was I telling the hardy-dars story? Have I finished that one?
No.
Oh.
Oh, you didn't finish.
How far did I get? Anyway, so the hardy-dars flew over, and instead of stopping and starting again, I just said, there are the hardy-dars. They should be our national birds, because who's ever seen a blue crane? You know. So another great secret is, apart from keeping your messages short, because of memory and the click factor, the other reason is don't do too many takes. If you do too many takes, then you'll go, oh, by the third take you'll go, oh, I made the mistake in that point. You know, I'm going to make it again. And believe me, you're not alone. When I've done television shows and the presenter goes over take 3, I go, okay, well, we're here for the long haul. Be nice, you know, because really they're also, when they're professionals, they're also embarrassed. And they think, because there are a lot of people around them, and I promise you, you will fumble at the same place. So leave it. Plan yourself, what you're going to say, well ahead of time. Don't say, okay, I've got to put this video messages out this afternoon. I'm going to shoot it this morning, edit it this afternoon, and it's got to be on social media or wherever you're going to put it tomorrow morning. Give yourself time, because if you're not doing well one day, you'll do better the next day. I mean, I do that when I'm writing it. If the muse is not with me, I stop, and I'm much better at 5 o'clock the next morning. You know, so don't do too many takes. Okay, let me see. There was another question in the chat. Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you, you see that person hiding there behind a sunflower taught me how to do my makeup. When we do our PowerPoint presentation thing, Raina actually does a talk on makeup, how you make yourself up to present on PowerPoint. And I promise you that when she does my makeup, I look a whole lot better. But if you're doing it yourself, well, in fact, next week, one of our colleagues, Jackie, is doing a talk on how to present on PowerPoint. She actually shows you how to do the PowerPoint presentation. I tell you, it's fantastic. If she can teach me, then she can teach anybody. But she may cover that as well. But my advice, as far as makeup is concerned, okay, so men, you do need makeup, I'm afraid. Just in case you see Hilton looking at me. Horror. You just put a little on your nose. And if you've got a shaven head or are prematurely shaven by God, you just put powder on your head. But for ladies, don't overdo it. You should do your makeup as if you are going out to dinner. Not as if you're going to a wedding, just as if you're going out to dinner. And be careful not to put too much eye makeup on, then people can't see the color of your eyes. There's Raina. Look at her, you see. There is, and look how beautifully she's made up, you see. Does make a difference. And so she gives a whole long talk, and she gives demonstrations on how to do your makeup. Any other questions? No? Now she's gone. Okay. Well, I think if there are no other questions, then I'm done. I'm just trying to think what else I could tell you. I've got loads of stuff to tell you. I'll tell you a bit about Zoom as well. I mentioned earlier that when you go on a Zoom meeting, really present yourself the way. I mean, you know, when you switch off your cameras and look at all these naughty people with their cameras switched off. You like to see who the people are. It's like this at a proper meeting. Going under the table. You know, you don't know what people are doing under the table. So at Zoom meetings, it's a great idea to keep your camera on. And, you see, there we're coming back. And look as if you're at a real meeting. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. All right. There's one more here. No. Okay, Taryn, I think then that's it.
All right. Thank you so much, Elsa. I really appreciate it. You gave some very, very insightful and helpful tips. And I'm sure that everybody got some value out of your talk. We will be sending out the recording with Elsa's contact details. So just keep an eye on your emails. And next week, we have another incredible talk about PowerPoint presentations. You will be getting another reminder email about that with a link. So do register for that one. Same time, same place next week.
And then I'll also see you next week because I'm coming to listen to that as well.
Awesome. We can't wait.
Okay.
Have a good day, everyone. Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks very much.
Bye.
Yes. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.